So this is a topic you and I have dived into a lot, is the unsteadiness and insecurity of Social Security.
Right.
And the fact that maybe in 2033 that check gets cut back by 20%. Is that something that you're planning around right now and saying, okay, so we've got 5 years to plan here, we got another few years here, and in 2033, we may see an income decline, so we got to kick in more income. Is that a part of the income planning right now?
Yeah, so let's talk about that, and let's talk about the whole Social Security kind of environment and taxes and all that sort of stuff, because it's pretty common that when we're going through our planning process with clients, they think Social Security already is tax-free. So
all right.
When you hear about this bill going through Congress or Trump talking about it, it's like, wait a second, what's going on here? It's not tax. Didn't I already pay a tax into this to get this money? You know, that's. I mean, I get it. I'd feel the same way.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm probably going to be a little bit off with these numbers here or there because I'm just doing it from memory, but it's something like if you're an individual tax filer and you make over, I think it's $34,000 a year.
$34,000, yeah.
Yeah. 85% of that Social Security benefit will be taxable. So it's not taxed at 85%, right? But 85%. So just real simple math, right? Your benefit's $1,000, 850 of it goes towards taxable income. And then if you're a married couple, maybe, you know, I think it's 44,000 if you're a married couple, you hit that 85% threat. And, you know, those aren't exactly large numbers, right, before you're getting to that 85% tax bracket. So it is taxable. A second point, this might help somebody out, because we get ahead of it with our clients now, but every now and then we'll have someone new come in and we'll say to them, hey, you know, how much are you withholding from Social Security for your taxes? I say, oh, well, you know, I don't know, just whatever they're withholding. I was like, no, it doesn't work that way. If you don't tell them to withhold something, they don't withhold anything, right? And then you end up with this tax bill at the end of the year. As far as the planning around, what you're talking about basically is Social Security running out, right? And the planning that can be done around that. It's not that there's not planning done for it. And this question comes up with everybody, right? Everybody is concerned, especially, you know, if you're 55, if you're 60, if you're 65, you're either eligible to take your Social Security or you're getting within striking distance of being able to do it. And for a lot of people, it's going to make up a fairly substantial portion of their income that's coming in. You know, if it's a married couple and their benefits $2,500 each, well, I mean, that's $5,000, right? And
right.
If you need $8,000 a month, I'm just making up numbers here, right? You need $8,000 a month to live on. Well, you know, whatever it is, that's 2/3 or something of the income there that you're going to be getting. It's quite a bit. So it's understandable and natural to be like, hey, this is going to be a pretty big deal if it goes away or it gets cut by 20%, 30%, whatever it might be. We don't think that's going to happen. Okay. That's so. Can we implement plans showing, hey, in 2030 or 2032, this benefit gets reduced? How do I pick it up? Yeah, we can. I mean, that's easy to do in the planning process. The bigger thing is, we don't think it's going to happen. There's actually, and I'm not going to have the same conversation with you that we have with clients in the office here. There's a lot of things that can be done to stabilize the Social Security program. None of them are very particularly popular. So do you think anyone's going to really deal with it until the last second when they actually have no choice whatsoever? Probably that's what's going to happen. I'm sure it is, right?
Because raising taxes is one of them,
Raising taxes is one of them.
Yeah.
The easiest way that they can stabilize it is, so your full retirement age used to be 65. Okay? And then it's something like if you were born between I think it was 1954 and 1959, they said, now it's 66, and then if you're born in 1955, 66 and 2 months, and it kind of graduates up until 1960, birth year of 1960, and now it's 67. Now, I think they did that in the 80s. I think they changed that. It hasn't been changed since.
Right.
Okay? So my full retirement age is 67. My 2-year-old full retirement age is also 67, right? That's probably going to change.
Right.
And that makes a pretty big difference. Now, the concern people have when I start talking about this is like, oh, well, if I'm going to retire next year and I'm 63, right now I can take it, but, are they going to move it? It would be shocking if they didn't go down to like people that are 30 years old right now and say, hey, you guys, first of all, you're not really paying attention to what we're doing, so we can kind of mess with your numbers a bit more, right? And hey, and I'm just going to make up numbers here, right? Okay, if you were born 1985 or later, well, now your full retirement age, it's 68. And 1986, 68 in 2 months. And I'm just, it could be whatever. I'm just trying to paint a picture here. That would help stabilize the program pretty quick, right? Mm-hmm. I really would doubt that it would be, hey, you're 60 years old. Well, guess what? Your age is getting changed. I don't think they're going to do that to people that are very close.
Gotcha.
That's one thing that can be done. Right now, I think it's about the 160,000, I think, is the cap, or somewhere around there, on the taxes, that Social Security taxes you pay in your earnings. So if you make $100,000, you're paying Social Security on all of them. You make 150, you're paying Social Security on all of them. You make 200, well, that last 40,000 or so that you're making, you're not paying Social Security taxes on, right?
And I never understood that. I never get that.
Yeah, it was something someone negotiated in a back room late one night, right? For something, because it is a bit weird. Can they raise that? That's probably a pretty easy one to do, right? I mean, there's far less people making 200,000 in this country than there are making 60, 70, 80,000, right? So it affects less people. I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't do that. Just would it be pretty easy? Probably. Circling back to what I started with, none of those things are popular. Right? Whoever recommends that sort of stuff, is it the right thing to do to stabilize the program? Yes. Do they ever get back to Congress or the Senate? Probably not. So who wants to do that?
Right. Well, this study that I'm going to give you right now actually took place during the campaign. So they were asking about retirement issues, but they also asked, are you a Republican or a Democrat, just to see if there was anything there. It was rather interesting. People in this study, whether they were Republican or Democrat, all agreed on these things. This is a big deal here, folks. We're going to tell you on the radio that Republicans and Democrats actually agree on something. And this is what they agree on. They agree that there is a retirement crisis. And when asked about retirement, they agree that these are the four big things that we have to get over. Too much debt, inflation, uncertainty about Social Security, we just talked about that, and the lack of a pension or guaranteed income. So these are the things, I mean, they're walking through your door, Jay, wherever they are, swinging on whatever side of the fence they are politically, they all agree that you have to solve these three things. So let's talk about them a little bit. Too much debt going in. There's good debt, there's bad debt.
That's right.
What debt should we attack when we go into our retirement?
Yeah, isn't it funny, Randy, that like as soon as politics is removed, everyone's pretty much the same, right? I mean, this shows you like everyone has the same concerns, everybody has the same hopes and dreams, and it's good that it's behind us now, but it's a shame that kind of the division that has happened, right?
It's true.
So let's go through these one by one. Too much debt. There's a belief out there that's promoted by a lot of the what I call in my book, right, advisor-tainers. It's not a very smooth word, but I think it describes it very well, all right? Advisor-tainers, where they're on TV, they're on, and they're really there to entertain rather than to deal with and educate people, right? It's been pushed by a lot of them that, hey, if you're not debt-free, you can't retire, forget about it, it's not possible. I mean, if you're debt-free, it sure helps, right? But that helps at any point in life, not just at retirement. The big thing is how much debt you have and what is it costing to service that. And there's different types of debt. You're absolutely right. If you've got a bunch of credit card debt, should we maybe think of holding off on retirement and getting that under control and really more so with that, right? Addressing the reason as to why it's happening. That's the biggest thing, right? If you've got 10, 20, 30 plus thousand in credit card debt, and it's just accumulating and accumulating, I mean, I hate to be this blunt, but this is what it is. You're living beyond your means, right? You're spending more money than you're bringing in and able to pay off. That is going to be a problem in retirement if that continues. So getting that addressed, getting that paid off, absolutely right. Now let's change gears. What if you have a mortgage? What if you've got 5 years, 10 years left on your mortgage? Well, does that mean you can't retire for 5 or 10 years or more? You can do that if you want. You can keep working till you're debt-free, but it may not be necessary, right? As long as we can account within the distributions for that payment. And with a mortgage, the great thing about that, it's fixed. It's not like rent. It's not like other things that you can't project out, right? We can plan for it. And I got to tell you, if you have to be debt-free before you retire, 100% debt-free, I'm not saying it's bad. I just said, hey, look, that's great. It puts you in a great situation. But if everyone has to be debt-free before they retire, there's not going to be a lot of people retiring. Yeah.
Very, very true. I was just thinking as we had that discussion about Social Security in 2033, I'm going to be carrying my mortgage a little bit into my retirement years. But if, for instance, in 2033, they pull back my benefit a little bit, I'll pay off my house before that, and that'll give me an extra $1,000. So some of this, this stuff kind of works out through the planning. All right, number 2 in here.
About the planning, just like you said, it's about is it accounted for in the plan? That's the biggest thing. Yeah.
Next thing is inflation. Obviously, it was a big campaign issue. Prices at the grocery store, prices on everything went up. And so we're all feeling it, and we're still feeling it. Even though inflation went down to 2.6%, it's still out there. We're still paying high prices, and it's still biting into our wallets, and certainly for people in retirement who thought, I can do this on $6,000 a month. Oh, I guess I need $7,000. And that's a problem.
Yeah, well, what's happened in that situation is, if there's been any planning done, which maybe there hasn't been, right? If there has been planning done, it has not been accounted for. Inflation increases, cost increases have not been accounted for in that plan. And we get people that will come and see us in this, and they'll be real honest, and it's like, hey, look, I'm talking to you guys, and I'm talking to another couple of advisors that I'm considering. And I'll say, hey, look, talk to everybody you like. This is an important decision. Get comfortable. If we're the right, I know we can do a lot of great things for you. But we've also got to click personally, right? Just it's a relationship, so you got to make sure you're on the same page. Everyone's working well together, and it's not uncommon that we'll do a bit of planning at the beginning for somebody, and we'll walk them through everything, and we'll say, hey, with the assets that you've got and your Social Security and everything all together, this is the amount of money, X amount of dollars, whatever, that you could spend in retirement, without running the risk of running out of money when you get older, right? And I'm just going to make up some numbers. And I'll say, it's $6,000 a month. And they say, well, yeah, and I'll say, this is conservative, but I don't want you to be 75 and me have to have the conversation with you. Like, hey, sorry, it was kind of a fingers crossed situation and it didn't work out, right? And they say, well, I went and saw whoever it is down the street. He said I could spend $8,000 a month. Really easily. And I said, I know the numbers that we work with and I know how solid they are. And I said, well, what has he got for inflation built into that? And it's like, nothing. I was like, yeah, well, the way we've got you planned out is that we're planning for inflation. And so this income keeps increasing over the years to keep up with it. And I can show you something where you can spend $10,000 a month if you like. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? It's all about understanding the metrics that are going into that plan that's being created for you, and making sure it's realistic, right? You want something that, even if things don't go perfect, we're still going to be okay. The last thing you want is, hey, we've got to knock it out of the park with these returns. Inflation can't go up. Yeah. Nothing can go wrong. And you're going to be fine. Really, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want someone to do a plan like that for me. So that's not what we do for people.
Yep. You don't want that perfect scenario. Everything has to line up in order for you to have a successful retirement.
I can't promise a whole lot, but I can promise you it's not. right? Everything is not going to go perfect. It just won't.
Just won't. Yeah, I heard somebody talking on the radio the other day about inflation, and they said, well, it's down to 2.6%. It was at 9. Well, what's everybody yelling about? And everybody goes, well, prices are still high. And the guy said, it's kind of like for the last 2 years, you've gained 30 pounds. And you go to your doctor and you say, hey, this month I only gained 2 pounds. And he goes, great, you're still 32 pounds overweight.
Right.
And that's kind of where we are right now. Prices went up. Yeah, inflation is down, but the prices haven't come down according to what that inflation number is. All right, number 3, we kind of just handled in our first segment there talking about Social Security. But let's move on to the next one. This is the biggie, that pensions have gone away for the most part. There's probably 15%, maybe 20% of people that still have some kind of a pension.
Right.
But the idea of having guaranteed income and that paycheck, that Social Security is going to come in every month. What else is going to come every month? And it's going to be dependable for the rest of my life. That's where it's like, okay, Jay, how do I take my assets and all that I've saved, and how does it become a paycheck?
Yeah, out of the things we've talked about, what was it? Debt, inflation, Social Security uncertainty. This last one is the one you should worry about the least, because there's options out there. There's things that you can do about it. You should probably sit down and talk to somebody about what your best course of action is. But this is easily manageable. And whenever we're looking at kind of problems to address, we'll look at, okay, what are the big ones that are easy to fix? All right, let's cross them off. Like we can get that taken care of. Let's spend our energy on the stuff that's really going to be a problem that we have to address. What people love about Social Security, what they love about if you're fortunate enough to have an employer pension, right, is it's not my problem, right? That's what it is that it's not my problem to figure out how to invest this money. It's not my problem if the stock market goes up or down, or a certain company misses its earnings and the market goes down 5%. That's not my problem. That's what they like about it, right? It gives you that sense of certainty. There are ways to replace that concept in what we call the private market, right? There are things you can do to purchase streams of guaranteed income. There's different annuities you can use that. I talk about this a lot when we bring up annuities, is that there are some bad ones out there. Sometimes they are used in the wrong way and people don't understand them. If they're used the right way and you understand them, they can be a very powerful tool. But it's all about knowing what you're getting into. This last concern, if someone was coming to me with this list in the office, this is the first one I'd address, because like, this is easy to solve. Let's scratch this off. We've got options.